Hey man, there's something no one ever really warns you about. Something that happens in every woman's story. A moment when everything flips. It's the instant she suddenly realizes that she doesn't have you like she used to. Your energy grows colder, your messages get shorter, and the enthusiasm that used to light up your conversations just disappears. And here's the thing, you didn't fight, you didn't curse her out, you didn't storm off angry or slam the door. Instead, you simply unplugged. Quietly, subtly, emotionally, you checked out without a word. That's when her entire psychology shifts because women are wired to sense the second your interest starts fading. When she recognizes that emotional internet connection between you two has gone dead silent, her reaction reveals everything you need to know about who she truly is. At first, she won't admit it, not even to herself. Her ego moves faster than her instincts, so she pretends she doesn't notice the change. She keeps up the same playful tone, laughs at your texts, maybe even sends a cute selfie to keep things light. But deep down, she feels the signal fading. The spark, that thing that once made her feel like the center of your universe, isn't there anymore. She begins to ask questions she never thought to ask before. Why isn't he calling like he used to? Why didn't he comment on my story? Why do I feel like I'm chasing him now? And believe me, that shift shakes her to her core. A woman's ego is built around one central belief. If he wants me, he'll prove it. For a while, that was true. She got the good morning texts, the playful banter, the attention she craved. But when that flow dries up, when you stop being the emotionally available source of warmth she took for granted, her confidence doesn't just dip, it trembles. Now, she's the one refreshing the chat, trying to figure out what changed, and her mind, wired for emotional storytelling, starts writing dangerous narratives. Did he meet someone else? Was he faking it the whole time? Was I not enough? If she's emotionally immature, her first response is blame. You're acting weird, you've changed, what's your problem? But if she's clever, she'll play it more subtly. She'll drop breadcrumbs to see if you'll pick them up. She'll post thirst traps, mention your name in mutual circles, casually say, "We haven't talked in a while, huh?" She's trying to bait you, to get you to reaffirm her place in your life. Because here's the raw truth most guys don't see. Most women aren't obsessed with keeping you. They're obsessed with knowing they still could. But when you don't bite, when you remain detached, grounded, and calm, that's when the obsession really begins. She starts replaying your last few conversations, overthinking your tone, analyzing every word, every pause, every emoji. She becomes a detective trying to solve the mystery. Did I push too hard? Was I too emotional? Did I kill the vibe? Ironically, the more she tries to figure you out, the more power she hands over to you. You stop being the man waiting for her call or message and become the puzzle, the emotional cliffhanger she can't quite solve. And the human mind hates unsolved mysteries more than anything. You want to know what really triggers a woman? It's not when you get angry or lash out. It's when you're completely unbothered. Because when you yell or get upset, she still knows she matters. That reaction, even if negative, proves she still holds a place in your world. But when you go silent, when your replies become short and cold, when your whole vibe quietly says, "I've already moved on emotionally," that's a death sentence to her ego. She might put on a front, act cool, brush it off with an "it's whatever," but inside she's scrambling, because a man's disinterest doesn't shout, it whispers, and those whispers are loudest in the deep silence of your detachment. Once a woman realizes your interest has dropped, she starts pulling every emotional lever she can find. She might suddenly get overly emotional over the smallest things just to see if you'll comfort her. She might bring up old memories, trying to stir the feelings she once sparked in you, testing if any part of you still responds. Sometimes she might even disappear for a while, hoping you'll chase her, hoping your silence will be broken by her absence. But when you don't chase, when your world keeps spinning without her, that's when panic truly sets in. Because all the games, all the attention grabbing only worked when she had your focus. Now, with the signal turned off, everything changes. Quick break. Close your eyes for a second. Picture her, the girl you've always wanted. Feel what it would be like to actually have her. Now open your eyes, because here's the truth. Right now, you're invisible to her. You're getting outcompeted by guys with more money, better looks, higher status, and stronger game. You're playing a rigged game, and you're losing. But I've spent the last 35 years mastering this, studying, testing, and finally finding the secrets to get the girls I always wanted. You want to stop getting ignored? You want her chasing you? Then you need to wake up and act. Click the link in the comments if you are truly committed and take the first step toward becoming that guy. Few spots left. Be fast or miss out your last chance to make her yours. Let's get back to it. Here's the wild paradox. She'll often feel rejected, even if she was the one who lost interest first. Feminine energy doesn't always want you for who you are in the moment. It wants to know that it could have you. That window of possibility is everything, and the second it closes, she feels abandoned. Not because you hurt her, but because her access to your attention and emotional energy is gone. That lack of access creates emotional scarcity, and scarcity is the fuel of obsession. The less she feels seen, heard, or acknowledged by you, the more she craves your gaze, your presence, your energy. Some women take this loss of interest as a wake-up call. They start reflecting on their behavior, maybe even owning up to emotional immaturity, inconsistency, or entitlement they hadn't noticed before. But many others respond with games, jealousy tactics, delayed replies, or passive-aggressive messages, anything to reclaim your attention. What they don't realize is that once a man truly detaches, these games stop working, because now your peace matters more than her attention. She can feel that shift with every word you don't say. If she truly valued you, this is the moment she starts chasing again. She texts more, checks in, compliments things she used to overlook, all because she suddenly realizes what she lost. And it's never just losing a man. It's losing a safe space, a grounded energy, a presence that once made her feel like the only woman in the world. That realization, that void left by your absence, is what hits her hardest. Not the absence itself, but the truth your absence reveals. She no longer has access to you. If you've ever had a woman come back out of nowhere weeks or even months later, it wasn't random. It was triggered by silence, by space, by your lack of reaction. She might have thought she could do better, believed you'd wait for her, thought you'd reach out first. But when you didn't, her mind started playing catch-up, and her heart began remembering the version of you she didn't appreciate while she had you. And by that point, you were already done. This is exactly why your silence holds more power than any speech ever could. Your withdrawal becomes far more punishing than any argument or confrontation. Your stillness, your calm absence of reaction, becomes infinitely more attractive than any frantic chase or desperate plea. In a world where so many men over-explain, over-text, and over-pursue, choosing to do none of that is revolutionary. You simply let her feel what life is like without your emotional internet, without your constant presence, your immediate reactions, your available energy. And once she realizes she's no longer logged in to that connection, she faces a crossroads. She'll either level up and grow, or she'll log off entirely and disappear from your world. But here's the crucial point you have to understand. You can't fake this kind of detachment. Women are instinctively attuned to authenticity, and they can smell performative detachment a mile away. If you're silent but still lurking, checking her stories, or if you claim you're over her but find yourself texting her at midnight, you're not truly detached. You're playing a game, trying to manipulate, and that will inevitably backfire. Genuine loss of interest is something that is felt deep within, not something to flaunt or weaponize. It's that quiet, undeniable moment when you're genuinely done, when her validation no longer excites you, when her drama no longer moves you, and when you finally choose yourself and mean it with every fiber of your being. True detachment is never about spite or punishment. It's about clarity and peace. It's the moment you recognize that holding on to her costs you far more peace than losing her ever would. It's when you stop reacting emotionally to her unpredictability, when you stop obsessing over what changed, and instead tell yourself that it simply doesn't matter anymore. And once you reach that point, you don't need to announce it to anyone. You just shift quietly, almost imperceptibly. That quietness, that subtle withdrawal, that's what keeps her up at night, because silence speaks louder than any words ever could. So if you're at that stage right now, if you've started to emotionally check out and she's just beginning to notice, stay calm. Don't argue, don't lecture, don't try to convince her or make her see your perspective. Just remain grounded, keep building your world, keep moving forward, and let her reaction reveal everything for what it really is. Because how a woman behaves after your interest fades is the most honest, unfiltered version of her you will ever meet. When a woman realizes your emotional energy is no longer orbiting around her, her entire strategy begins to shift. Suddenly, she becomes more cooperative, more tender, more feminine. She talks softer, laughs more at your jokes again, and maybe even wears the perfume you liked. But here's the catch. This shift isn't always genuine. Sometimes it's just a recalibration, a tactic to reel you back in, not because she truly values you, but because your detachment threatens her sense of control. This is precisely where you need discernment. Don't let temporary attention fool you into forgetting why you disconnected in the first place. The truth is, women don't panic when you argue or when there's conflict. What truly shakes them is when you stop trying altogether. They panic when you no longer care enough to explain, when you stop asking where the relationship is headed, when you cease being emotionally available on command. That kind of silence is more brutal than any breakup because it silently declares, "I've made peace with your absence." And to the emotionally entitled, peace feels like punishment. They're used to being the sun, the center of your universe, the one you were supposed to orbit. But now you've become your own galaxy, and that terrifies her. One of the hardest pills for a woman to swallow is realizing that your silence doesn't mean you're hurt. It means you've healed. You're not texting less because you're playing games. You're texting less because your energy is no longer being wasted on what doesn't serve you. You're not colder because you want to punish her. You're colder because you've returned to your core, to your authentic self. You've stopped waiting for her to validate your worth, and once she realizes you're no longer dependent on her attention for your emotional oxygen, that's when she truly feels the loss. Not just the loss of a boyfriend, but the loss of a man who once gave her real significance. You want to know the ultimate paradox? The very moment you stop needing her to act a certain way, the moment you release all expectations and cease trying to control her behavior, is the exact moment she begins to act right. She becomes more thoughtful, more responsive, more genuinely attentive, not because you demanded it or pressured her, but simply because you no longer require it. You stop rewarding her inconsistency with your approval and attention. You stop performing for her validation. Instead, you've made peace with the possibility of walking away if things don't naturally align. That kind of emotional nonchalance, that calm detachment, flips her world upside down. It shocks her because now she's not reacting to your attention, she's reacting to your absence. And absence, as they say, makes the heart grow fonder, or at least makes her realize what she's risking losing. If she's emotionally evolved, she might respect your detachment. She might even take a hard look at herself and apologize for the ways she neglected or took you for granted. She might own up to the things she ignored or brushed aside, admitting with sincerity, "I realized I took you for granted." Sometimes that kind of self-awareness is real and leads to genuine change. But more often than not, many women simply fall back into old patterns. They mirror your energy, matching your distance only until you come back. Then they revert to their previous behaviors. This is why it's crucial not to just look at her behavior in isolated moments. You need to watch the pattern over time. If her energy only rises when you retreat but vanishes as soon as you engage again, that's not love or respect, that's ego management. She's controlling the narrative to suit her needs, not truly growing or valuing you. This is where most men fail. Right at this point of renewed chasing, they fold. They mistake temporary attention and effort for real transformation and growth. But just because she misses your presence doesn't mean she has changed. Sometimes she's just missing the control she had over you, the power she wielded. Sometimes she simply hates losing, hates the feeling of being without you. And the moment she regains your interest, she'll often drop the effort again. Why? Because inconsistency is rewarded with re-engagement, and inconsistency breeds complacency. The man who stays centered, who continues to observe calmly without emotionally reacting, is the man she can't figure out. And that very confusion, that mystery, is what breeds obsession. It keeps her chasing, keeps her wondering, keeps her wanting to solve the puzzle that is you. The woman who truly values you will respond to your emotional detachment with self-reflection. She won't just chase after you blindly. She will improve, grow, and come back with clarity, consistency, and honest communication. She won't rely on sex, silence, or manipulative games to regain your attention. Instead, she'll speak plainly, act maturely, and show through her actions, not just her words, that she understands your worth now. On the other hand, if she returns with emotional baiting, roller coaster highs and lows, or passive-aggressive behaviors masked as flirtation, then you know the truth. She doesn't want you. She wants the power she once had over you. And here's the freedom in truly losing interest. You won't even need closure. You won't feel the urge to ask why she didn't try harder, why she pulled away, or why she played those games. You won't chase explanations or replay old conversations in your mind. You won't crave one last conversation or hope for some final understanding. You'll simply move on, not out of bitterness or resentment, but because peace has finally become more attractive than potential. And when that happens, she feels it too. She feels it in every moment you don't react. She feels it in every call you don't return. She feels it in every quiet smile you give her that says, "I'm not angry, I'm just done." That's the true irony of emotional detachment. It doesn't create distance, it simply reveals the distance that was already there. It acts like a spotlight, exposing who was genuinely invested in you and who was merely using your emotional labor as a way to feel validated. It separates those women who are truly ready for mature, deep connection from those who only want fleeting excitement or temporary stimulation. It uncovers which relationships were grounded in mutual respect, honesty, and growth, and which were fragile constructs built on emotional dependency, insecurity, or convenience. And once you see that with absolute clarity, something powerful happens. You stop wasting your time and energy trying to fix what's fundamentally broken. Instead, you begin to focus on building something stronger, healthier, and more fulfilling with someone who is truly worthy of your attention. So if you're sitting there right now, wondering how she's reacting to your fading interest, whether she's noticing, caring, or even trying to reel you back in, understand this. If she truly wanted you, she wouldn't have waited until you pulled away to prove it. That moment of silence, that withdrawal of your energy, was never a test you were trying to fail. It was a revealing moment she failed to respond to. And now, the ball is no longer in her court, it's firmly in yours. Because when a man learns to truly value his own attention, when he masters his presence and chooses to walk away from emotional chaos without sacrificing his inner peace, he becomes more powerful than any words, gifts, or manipulative games ever could make him. This kind of power is quiet but unshakable. It's the power of self-respect, clarity, and emotional sovereignty. And once she realizes she can no longer log back into the emotional internet connection she once took for granted, that's when the truth hits her hardest. She understands she hasn't just lost your fleeting interest or attention, she's lost access to a man who was never easy to find in the first place. You weren't just there to fill a void or boost her ego. You were a rare presence, a steady force, a source of genuine connection and peace. And now that's gone, not because you left abruptly or out of spite, but because you finally chose yourself over the chaos, clarity over confusion, and peace over drama. That loss, this true loss, is what no game, no apology, no charm offensive can ever fully recover. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. If this message spoke to you or gave you something to think about, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new drop. I've got more real talk, more growth, and more power coming your way, so stay locked in. And if you're going through something right now, just remember, your silence can say more than 1,000 words ever could. Take care of yourself, keep rising, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.